Good evening and welcome to Joy News Prime. Now coming up tonight, tensions is brewing in Boko in the Upper East region after 10 civilians were allegedly murdered. Details as the MP for the area condemns the act and demands immediate investigations. President Akufo-Addo demands from the Ghana Armed Forces a robust posture to deter potential aggressors from destabilizing the country as he presents equipment and communication gadgets to the forces. We'll hear from the Chief of Defense Staff, who is promising to step up security in the Boko area. Also in this bulletin, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament fumes at the absence of Yoko Executive Director at public hearing for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, she did not attend. This year too, she did not. We are taking note. It should be communicated to her that the chairman of the committee is not happy that she's not coming or appearing before the committee.
We have details as Deputy Attorney General explains the reason for Tiwa Adodankwe's absence. At 8 p.m., Beverly Broom will be joining us for Prime Business.
Some branch managers of the Malcolm Shopping Center have been arrested for tax evasion.
All these places that we have been to, we have arrested the managers of those branches. And we are sending them to our head office. The CID will take their statements and then investigation will start from there.
Now, tension is brewing in Boko in the Upper East region after 8 civilians were allegedly murdered by persons believed to be from the military. 2 others were shot on Monday night, ostensibly because they were suspected of planning to foment trouble during curfew hours, bringing the total number of deaths to 10. 1 teenager is among the dead. 2 other persons, including 1 woman, are in critical condition. Youth of the Zogin suburb of Boko, where the incident occurred, are angry and are demanding justice for the dead. David Adoliba speaks for the youth.
People that are deployed in Boko to protect lives and property are the people engaged in killing the people of Boko. It's surprising that 8 people that were in their gardens doing their normal gardening job got arrested by the military, to be precise, dragged to a mango tree, and under the mango tree they fired and killed 8 people. Followed 1 person who jumped into a silo and burned the silo, and as we speak you can find the burnt body. As we speak, a woman was shot in her arm just to clean up the mess so that nobody will know this action was taken by the military. But as I'm speaking to you, there were people around who saw all this, and we are disappointed because we want to find out if there's a state of emergency. We want to find out who gave that authority for the security that are supposed to protect lives and property to now destroy lives and property. As we speak, I'm told they are in the market now, chasing market women out of the market. I don't know the duty of a man in the market. I don't know what they are here for, but I can assure you that the laws are there to protect everybody. The laws are there to protect, and if there are war crimes, we will talk about it. Because in international law, people are arrested for committing serious atrocities as militaries. So we won't leave this unturned. We will ensure that we get the right information and get to the bottom of it. We want to know who gave that authorization for the military. It is not being done on one side. In both sides, we have all reported killers. And so we, the people of Kusaku, we, the Kusasis, are demanding justice immediately.
Our Upper East regional correspondent, Albert Sorry, has been monitoring the development for us and joins us live via Zoom with more. Albert, what can you report?
Yes, so this evening, the youth of Boko are very angry. The fears are that if the Security Council does not put measures in place to try and calm down nerves and to assure the youth of Boko that they are doing something to try and find the perpetrators of what happened this morning, things could get very messy. And so these are the fears that people have. The next 1 hour thereabouts, it will be curfew time, and so that could help. But many people who have monitored what is happening in Boko today are a bit tensed that if care is not taken, there could be reprisals. There might even be some demonstrations by the youth of Boko if they do not get an assurance that the government, and for that matter, the Security Council, is doing everything possible to find the perpetrators of the crimes that took place today.
In terms of security, what's the situation there now?
Yeah, so we haven't been able to get in touch with the regional minister and the municipal chief executive for Boko because their phones have been busy, understandably because of the volatile nature of what has happened today. They will be busy trying to put measures in place, trying to calm nerves and all of that. So we haven't been able to speak with the security and also the leaders of the regional and municipal security councils at the moment. But the expectation is that measures will be put in place. One of the comforts for many security watchers is that there is curfew in place in Boko at the moment. So that will help avert any possible reprisals or any possible danger that might come later today. But the expectation from many people is that the perpetrators of this act will be found, because this is not the first time an incident of this nature has taken place. Remember, during the Christmas period, there were 2 other incidents when we had reports that people in uniform, suspected to be military, had gone and killed people. In one of those instances, it was a man and his mother and his child whose lives were taken by these people. And so many people feel that something is not adding up as far as what is happening in Boko is concerned, and they want it clamped down once and for all.
So as we speak, do you see the military and the police around to ensure that all is well in the community?
Yes, so normally during curfew hours, and even outside of curfew hours, already there is a lot of security presence in Boko because of what has been happening. And so today, again, there will be security presence. The expectation is that more men will be brought in to try and augment what is there, mainly because of what has happened today. So yes, there is security presence in the town, and they are expected to be in control of the situation.
Okay, thank you. Albert Sorry is our man on the ground there. Now, the Member of Parliament for Boko, Mahama Yarga, has condemned the military for what is happening in the area. In a statement, he said, let me condemn in the strongest possible terms the infliction of mortal casualties on innocent civilians by members of the Ghana Armed Forces in Boko today. This is totally unacceptable, and I will leave no stone unturned in my fight for redress for these victims. Report reaching me is to the effect that there were gunfires last night across the Boko town. The military, as part of their effort to curtail the situation, chased anyone they saw. Information reaching me is to the effect that they were chasing some people, and other people saw those being chased running and also took to their heels. The military shot at them and in the process killed 6 civilians. The statement continues to say that a little boy who also ran to hide behind some grasses was also shot. The grass caught fire and burnt him to death, making the number 7. In addition, the assemblyman for the Misiga electoral area was physically assaulted by the military personnel and sustained serious injuries. Several unspeakable brutalities have been reported. This is totally unacceptable, and I condemn the military in very strong terms. There was similar killing of 2 men at Patelmi because they allegedly broke curfew laws. This is preposterous, the statement says. It continues to say that the government must immediately investigate this report and bring to book the perpetrators of this dastardly act. I urge everyone to lay down their weapons and let's work towards peace and not give opportunities to others to inflict such inhumane treatment on us. May the soul of these innocent victims rest in peace. And is signed by Mahama Yarga, MP, Boko Central. Now, Dr. Kwesi Baini is leading partner of the African Center for Conflict Resolution, Peace and Security, and an accredited representative of the International Security Organization, Ghana. He joins us via Zoom now. Doc, I'm grateful for your time. What makes Boko such a volatile area?
Thank you very much. Let me extend my greetings to the cherished listeners of your wonderful television station. Now, the situation right now in Boko, as you see, has a historical and political dimension. We have the partisan politics, and then we have the democratic political, situation. Now, the way things are going there, it's more of what eating or might have taken effect from history and then eating into the political partisan sort of a thing. And if it is not well taken care of, it will open door for the terrorists also to take an advantage of penetrating, because the terrorist is always looking for 0.01% of a space to maneuver and enter at the blind spot of the people, and then be able to also perpetrate their evil deeds or actions. Right now, our circumstances there, all the historically, I can say that it's all about what, who owns what, that area, the Kusasi or the Mampusi. That has been on, and anytime there's a change of governance, there seems to be what, either escalation or de-escalation. We need to look at that. And I remember also that our own president, when he was campaigning, was then, I think, some time ago, if my history, served me very well. It was a legal counsel to the people of the Mampusi, and I think he made promises. But now that he's the president, honestly speaking, he's been enclaved with with laws that we cannot be able to do what he promised them to do. So I will entreat the president with all humility and respect as our excellency to intervene in this, because it has taken a political party dimension, and history is also speaking for itself, and the people must be happy, because it can lead to so many things, as you might think is that wars, we don't have to pray for that, but this is how it starts.
Okay.
And it begins to, and when it affects there, it affects Ghana. It is not that they are there, so we have to leave them there. But we need to be considerate and also be concerned and join and ensure. Again, the military and the natural science are not supposed to be as responsible for territorial integrity when there's an external design for them. And that of the police and the being asked responsible for the homeland security. So to me, if there's any kind of situation within a country, it's the police. But where there is war, there's a need for reinforcement, then they bring the military in. And even the military brought in must be subject to the guidance and the instructions of the senior police officer at the head of the team who has been sent in.
Okay.
But the moment the military goes in, their training is different. And they don't ask questions. And the way they acted is wrong. And what are they looking for? That they continue to kill these brothers and sisters over there. And this is going to work. If we're not really arrested immediately, it can escalate. And when there's escalation, we down here also be affected, because it affects logistics, money, and now we are crying for money.
So, Doc, on that score, how should this issue of alleged brutality be handled to ensure that it doesn't escalate the already tense environment that we've been told of?
Very good. Very well. Thank you very much. I believe the military, the police, intelligence area, what we need is to look at the intelligence cycle, the intelligence area very well, because we have different kinds of intelligence. As I said, we have the human, that is the human intelligence, we have the signal intelligence, we have the imagery intelligence, we have measurement and signature intelligence, we have the open sourcing and video and airwaves or fiber optics intelligence. Any of these would depend upon the environment, what is really taking place there, to determine what kind of intelligence to be adopted, which of course I believe the police and the military, they know. So they need to know and adopt and then gather intelligence. And so when they go there, they are tackling what is really on the ground, not just indiscriminately. Now, what they were shooting is like indiscriminate shooting, which is not proper. It is not scientific in security. So they need to be very much considerate and apply all the principles of security as far as intelligence is concerned, and ensure that when they are handling issues, they are handling it accordingly.
Okay, Doc. I'm grateful that you could join us here. That's Dr. Kwesi Binding. He is a security analyst. Now, still staying on security matters, President Akufo-Addo is demanding from the Ghana Armed Forces a robust posture that deters potential aggressors from destabilizing the country. Ghana's northern borders have seen the deployment of security personnel to counter potential terrorist attacks, following instability in the neighboring countries. Today at the Burma camp, the president presented machines, armored vehicles, and communication gadgets to aid in the fight.
Today, I'm here to commission and present to you 70 KAMAZ utility troop-carrying vehicles, 20 BTR 70 armored personnel carriers, 20 Husky armored vehicles, 65 assorted Toyota vehicles, and a number of communication equipment. I have no doubt that these vehicles and equipment will go a long way to help the Ghana Armed Forces contain the security threat from violent extremist and terrorist groups operating along our northern borders, other internal security challenges, as well as support external peacekeeping operations. I want to commend you for your commitment to the ongoing operations, especially Conquered Fist, Motherland, Gong Gong, and Halt 2, which are intended to create a secure, peaceful atmosphere in the northwestern, northern, and northeastern borders of the country, to contain secessionist activities, and to deal with the Galamsey menace respectfully. I urge you to continue to collaborate with the Ministries of National Security, Interior, Foreign Affairs, and the Ghana Revenue Authority, as well as all other public stakeholder agencies, to ensure that we maintain a robust posture that will deter potential aggressors from derailing the political and socio-economic gains achieved so far.
Now, Chief of Defense Staff, Vice Admiral Seth Amama says some of the equipment will be deployed to Boko to address the security concerns in the area.
These vehicles are to be deployed as part of the Northern Border Project in an effort to maintain peace and stability along our northern borders. A quantity of 20 of the Husky vehicles have so far been delivered, and the remainder are expected to be delivered very soon. Mr. President, your government, through the Ministry of Defense, as part of efforts to effectively resource the Ghanaian battalion in the United Nations Interim Security Force for ABA, UNISFA for short, government has procured a number of vehicles and equipment for the Ghana Armed Forces to support the mission. A number of the vehicles are also being prepared for deployment to enhance troop mobility and protection for Boko Task Force on Operation Gong Gong.
Defense Minister Dominic Nitiwul is optimistic the equipment will put the Ghana Armed Forces in a state of readiness to defend the country.
Combating these threats requires real-time surveillance capability, high mobility, force protection, firepower, and communication, and is exactly what you and the government have been doing for the Ghana Armed Forces from your first term as president till today. Your Excellency, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, during the president's last visit in October 2021, Jeeps, Toyota mini vehicles, Toyota Hilux pickups, and equipment were commissioned and presented to the Ghana Armed Forces to enhance its operation. To further boost the vehicle and equipment state of the Ghana Armed Forces, the following have been procured. 70 KAMAZ utility troop carrying vehicles have been procured, 20 BTRs 70 armored personnel vehicles, 20 Husky vehicles, and large quantities of equipment. But just to add that though 20 of the Husky vehicles have arrived, 70 were actually procured, 20 of the BTRs have arrived, 52 have been procured. And so, and the figures I mentioned, which is 70 armored, there is no doubt that these vehicles will enable the armed forces conduct its internal and external duties with professionalism for and on behalf of the Ghana, and in particular, the entire region as a whole.
Now, Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, James Kluche Aveji, has referred the conduct of management of the Ghana Maritime Authority for prosecution. The 2019 Auditor General's report cited the institution for 7 procurement breaches. The Auditor General recommended that the officials involved in the breaches must be prosecuted pursuant to the Public Procurement Act. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has the rest of the story.
It's been another day of grueling questions from the members of the Public Accounts Committee to some state institutions as regards to the report of the Auditor General in respect of the year 2019. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Maritime Authority, Social Security and National Insurance Trust have all been appearing before the committee. The Public Accounts Committee has now referred some officials of the Ghana Maritime Authority to the Attorney General for prosecution over some public procurement breaches.
To be sanctioned in accordance with Section 92, so we are therefore referring the case to the Attorney General.
The committee is also recommending, just like the Auditor General did, that some officials of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority refund some amount of money to the state. Of course, this recommendation did not come without some back and forth.
When people were coming to the hospital, we didn't have the chemicals for them.
You and I were not there.
Mr. Chair, I sworn an oath before you.
I said you and I were not there.
But
you were not there. You were told.
Mr. Chairman,
you were told, Minister.
Mr.
You were
Chairman,
told.
I don't think that you impugn motive into anything.
And I'm saying that the explanation given could be one side, but another person will interpret it that the 2 people or 3 big companies that bid it or were not the favorites.
Mr. Chairman, the second interpretation is wrong.
Ignorance of the law is not.
I agree with you, but the agencies of the matter also allowed lead to because people are going to die.
Now the recommendation is that the difference between the lowest bidder and then the price at which they actually bought should be surcharged to those people involved.
The chairman of the committee was also not happy that the executive director of Yoko did not make it to today's hearings. According to him, the executive director, Mame Yadu Dankwa, has failed to appear before the committee last year, and also that this year's absence is not something that they will tolerate. And so he has asked that the message be passed on to the executive director.
Executive directors had to attend to some matters and has therefore delegated his deputy to appear before the committee this morning.
Last year, she did not attend. This year, too, she did not. We are taking notes.
Very Honorable Chair, we will ensure that the next time he
it should be communicated to her that the chairman of the committee is not happy, that she's not coming or appearing before the committee.
Very well noted, Chair.
The Social Security and National Insurance Trust also appeared before the Public Accounts Committee today, having to do with their investment and whether or not they are taking care of your pensions very well. According to the Director General of SNIT, some of the losses they made under the year-in review was due to government not paying up the pension funds of workers.
And it is the public sector accruals which is a bit challenged. So that is the ones that we need to pursue. You retire today, we would not say that your contributions have not been remitted as long as it's been filed and acknowledged by your employer that you were working. So we would go ahead and pay you everything that is due you. What would happen though is that if this continues persistently, it's going to be a time where we wouldn't have the cash to pay.
So the Public Accounts Committee is going to sit until Parliament resumes next week. Our understanding is that they are even going to sit through that. There are significant concerns by the public that state institutions are not managing public resources very well. and the chairman of the committee has been at pains to insist that this committee will not countenance state institutions who are mismanaging public resources. Reporting for Joy News from Parliament House, Kweku Asante.
Now, as the economic conditions of the country worsens, traders at the Chindere market in the Krachi in Chumuru district of the Oti region are resorting to barter system as their means of survival. The barter trade, which is scheduled to begin at 8:30 a.m. every morning, is strictly supervised by the queen mother of the market. No one is allowed to exchange goods and services before that time. According to the traders, the only way to get a complete meal in this difficult economic period is by engaging in this barter trade. Sometimes the traders exchange produce, including fish, yam, and shea butter, amongst others. Now, they explained the exact items they were permitted to exchange and how they measure the quantity of items to match what they are exchanging for.
I sell fish, and we sometimes do exchange. We are grateful for the chief. We are telling everyone to come to the market to have an experience. The market queen has done very well for the market. This is what I also sell. 1 for 2 cedis. Some women bring other items for me to sell. I sell shea butter, and sometimes I exchange it for fish. We use kondo and cassava dough for fish. Some people do not have money to buy fish, so they exchange it with either yam or kondo. I had to borrow money to pay for my child's school fees. The only job we do here is to sell kondo. My brother gave me money to offset my debt. I did not get any fish today.
Ndura mitra ye mi bra bi firi bajam so na wabesu so wanya so awie pe na wodi sika na hye minsa 3 million na me dia kotu aka nti me ba no kura mini bia mbe wakodi manya na.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. Still to come here, Mayor of Accra storms market with sanitation officers evicting traders and seasoned produce displayed at unhygienic and unauthorized places. Now, Mayor of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Elizabeth Saki, vows to win the fight against sanitation offenders as she personally led the Joy Clean Ghana team to the Agbobloshi market, where more than 30 people were arrested for flouting sections of the sanitation bylaws. Michael Ashley was there in our report.
Chaotic scenes at the Agbobloshi market as task force of the AMA seeks to enforce the bylaws that forbade anyone from selling on the shoulders of the street and on open drains. But the offenders will not go down without a fight. And some of these people have decided to take the law into their own hands and rescue their tubers of yam that were earlier taken from them here. Side obstructing the free flow of traffic, the foodstuffs sold by these traders are at a higher risk of cross-contamination. After years of sensitizing them, they continue to break the law in a brazen fashion.
See, they've just displayed for sale the yam on the background, which is very bad. They've displayed for sale the yam on the background. And it is not every microorganism that has its way into food you cook that will die. Some will hibernate in the heat. Then when you eat it, it will then rejuvenate and start multiplying in you. And we all know that of late we've been hearing food poison issues in the country. And all these things are part of it.
Director of Environmental Health and Sanitation Unit of the AMA, Florence Kuchi, says the Assembly will deploy new strategies to curb the situation.
We have confiscated their goods several occasions, but they are refusing. Now, when you even seize the goods, they won't come again. Instead of seizing the goods, we are going to arrest the human beings. And take the human beings, take them to court. When court finds them and direct them not to do, maybe they will stop doing it. That is what we are going to do now. The whole of this month will be in Agboleshi, and we'll make sure that before we leave Agboleshi has turned into a new leaf.
And for the first time, the mayor of Accra, Elizabeth Saki, personally led the Joy Clean Ghana team.
All of them, these people, where are your boys?
Please, man, they are doing it at the back. They are coming.
Arrest all of them. How many times do they want us to talk to them? They know what they are doing is wrong, and yet they are doing it. Yeah. So arrest them.
For her, offenders will no longer be spared.
I'm in park here. This is what has created the problem at Yellow Sisi Wache. Yeah. It's all because of this fault. You are training them, you are telling them what to do a whole year, and they are not responding to it. Now arrest them. Yes, arrest them. It's rather unfortunate, and I really feel sorry for my officers. Apparently, that shouldn't be the mood of the market, especially the yam sellers. They are fond of doing that. Either they attack you or they throw stones at you and others. I personally have come, but fortunately, because I'm the mayor, when I come, they are calm a bit and then they try to pack their things. But I've had enough of it. And if they've gone to that extent of attacking my officers, it tells you the next time it will be me. So I'm not going to take it lightly. And that's the action now.
A very difficult day for the Joy News Clean Ghana campaign team. The mayor herself joined the team whilst they combed through the streets of the Agbogbloshi market to enforce the tenets of the AMA bylaws. Well, she's given her word that she's going to come very hard because it's time that they put some action to the words they've been saying. This time, they will be arresting even those who are buying from those breaking the law. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
A 28-year-old mother and her two daughters were burnt to death Wednesday after fire swept through their apartment at Ebuakwa in Echuma Nwabiaja district of the Ashanti region. The tragedy comes on the back of the death of a policeman and his family who were consumed by fire at Apromase about 3 weeks ago. Ashanti Regional Fire Service Commander ACFO Henry Gewa says recent investigations into fire death reveal victims and rescuers are unable to break out of their security doors to escape death. Daniel Jima has been interacting with officials of the service who visited the fire scene and has filed this report.
The family of three killed in Wednesday's fire have been identified as Abigail Menu, 28, Nora Yeboah, 9, and Philippa Yeboah, 6. It is unclear what caused the fire, but eyewitnesses say they found the mother shielding the two children from the fire after it was quenched. 2 of the 5 people who occupied the house at the time of the incident were able to escape the fire. Community security volunteers who were the first to get to the scene say they heard a loud noise from the house around 3:15 a.m. Commander of the volunteers, Stephen Wondomo, explains they tried to break into the room but were unsuccessful due to fortification of the doors.
We were trying to break and enter and rescue them, but they used some methods to block the back of the door, so we couldn't break through and rescue them. So, but we are able to rescue the landlady and the daughter.
Love News checks revealed the family have been robbed at least twice in the past few months, hence the enforcement of the doors. About 2 weeks ago, a member of the anti-robbery unit of the Regional Police Command, Sergeant Osua Santebefi, and his family were burnt to death in a fire outbreak. Rescuers revealed neither the officer nor those outside could break the door of the room due to the nature of the door. Officers of the fire service are raising concerns over the type and make of the security doors on the market. ACFO Henry Giwa is recommending a national probe into their make.
We should also try and create alternative exits, because most of the time it's just one exit, and when that exit is blocked, you can't find any other alternative. So we should also try and install another alternative exit, so that when it happens this way, you can use the other way to run away. I think these security doors too, maybe it's time for us to also investigate these China doors, their behaviors and whatever in fires, because it's becoming too many that you go and you realize it's the China doors that are being installed, and then the people are not able to escape. Some will come as far as the door and you are not able to open. So I think we'll have to take it upon ourselves, together with maybe standard board, to check the ratings and everything of the doors.
Meanwhile, the service has revealed most of the recent domestic fires are recorded at night. He explains some identified causes and possible solutions.
Coils, and we don't put them on a metal or whatever with water around it, so that when it dies, everything will die with it. Normally we put it on combustible materials. So when they get there, then they also start fire gradually. And before you realize, it becomes a big fire. At times too, we'll be cooking. Or you'll be doing, let me go and have a nap. Before you realize, you are fast asleep. So that's why we are even encouraging people that before you even leave the kitchen, pick something that will remind you that, hey, I was at the kitchen. Then it can remind you to quickly go back. So these are some of the, I think, some of the causes that, and electricity too. And that's why we are pleading that we start installing, if we are not doing it, smoke detectors in our rooms. So as soon as the fire happens, the smoke detector will be able to pick it up, sound the alarm for you, to wake up, and then do what you have to do.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
One-time flag-bearer aspirant of the NPP, Francis Adainimo, says he is the new face the NPP needs to break the 8 in the 2024 elections. He made a pronouncement as he announced his intentions to contest in the flag-bearer race of the NPP. Mr. Adainimo said apart from a 7-point transformational agenda, he is bringing a new energy needed to revitalize the NPP for victory 2024. The following report has more. Francis Adainimo first joined the NPP flag-bearer race in 2016 and placed 3rd. He is going again this year with the hope of beating the likes of Alan Tremanting, Dr. Akoto Osei, Kennedy Ejapon, and others who are expected to declare their intentions in the coming days. Former Mampong legislator will campaign on a 7-point socio-economic transformational agenda.
The first one is on agriculture and food security. Man must eat. Everybody must eat. So if you start talking about how you are going to space, how you go to space on a rocket that you have no idea about, or how you dive and try to get to the bottom of the sea, meanwhile you are hungry. So man must eat. You have eaten, you have gone to school, you have good health. What again? You need employment. So the 4th point is on employment and entrepreneurship.
He says he is the new face and unify the NPP need to break the 8 in 2024.
That allow me to emphasize that our country and our party NPP needs a fresh, new face and audacious leadership objectives that will propel us into a more prosperous future. This is the direction our movement has determined for this leadership campaign, and I accept the challenge. A new phase enabling the NPP to break the 8.
Mr. Adainimo's campaign is endorsed by a founding member of the NPP, Dr. Yaho Tamaklo. He describes Mr. Adainimo as a man of integrity who can transform the fortunes of Ghana.
He's the only one who can unite this party. Now let me warn the delegates. This is just a brief statement that I'm making. You'll see more of me. I want delegates to be very careful. If you miss this man, you will regret terribly.
Now, the National Democratic Congress is calling for an immediate dismissal of all ministers fingered in the Auditor General's report on government's COVID-19 expenditure, including the Information Minister, Kojo. According to the report, the ministers were implicated in various violations, including the Ministry of Health inability to retrieve some $8.1 million out of the $120 million paid for COVID-19 vaccines. The NDC made the call today during a press conference at the party's headquarters to address the revelations made in the COVID-19 expenditure audit. The NDC also wanted a special prosecutor to investigate and prosecute all officials who have been cited in the report for wrongdoing. Sami Jenfi is the National Communications Officer of the NDC.
The NDC hereby calls on the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament to expedite its public hearings on this special audit report into COVID-19 funds. This hearing should be televised live for the Ghanaian public to follow and be apprised of how their government expended COVID-19 funds. Secondly, we urge Parliament to compel the Auditor General to exercise his power of surcharge and disallowance to retrieve all COVID-19 funds that have been misapplied or misused through various infractions and veritable acts of criminality. The Supreme Court has been very clear on this. The Auditor General owes this a duty to this country. His report is not enough, and we want to see him taking concrete actions, surcharging people and retrieving these stolen monies, which can be used to build schools, which can be used to provide food for our children in secondary school, which can be used to build hospitals, which can be used to improve the lives of our people. While at it, ladies and gentlemen, we call on the special prosecutor to investigate all ministers and public officials who have been cited in the report for wrongdoing and bring them to book. President Kufuor, this time around you must do something before you die. You must immediately fire the Minister of Finance, the Health Minister, Kojo, the Minister of Information, or should I say misinformation, Kojo, the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, and all other public officials, be them political appointees or civil servants, who have been cited in the Auditor General's report for violating the laws of the country in their expenditure of COVID-19 funds. And if he fails to do so, we are telling the perpetrators of this heinous crime that the day of reckoning and accountability will surely come for them.
Now, the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital says it is grappling with a worrying number of patients who are unable to settle their medical bills. Such patients, they say, come from poverty-stricken homes in the Ashanti region and beyond. Many of them, according to staff of the hospital, either extend their stay or flee the hospital premises to avoid footing medical expenses. Health workers who have been supporting such patients out of sympathy say it is eating into their finances. Love FM's Mona Lisa Frimpong has more in this report.
Grace has been delivered of twins at the maternal ward of the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital. The mother of 4 was discharged a week ago, but she is forced to stay at the ward because she cannot afford her bills, totaling 1,900 Ghana cedis. She has spent another week at the facility with no help in sight.
Forced labor na dimbe pie ha. Metiebu akwa agogo. Forced labor awo ya na dimbe pie ha say. Hospital be tu ane de. Ene more than because I can ubeton no nyina so. ubasa twa bills kakraka. Ntine mo de ma me pa.
Grace represents what is becoming Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital's headache, a growing number of patients who cannot pay their medical bills. Here at the maternity ward of the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital, a number of patients continue to occupy bed space after their discharge because they have no money to settle their bills.
Oh, kwanya na me fa so amenye scan say ye betwetwe na nkra because 19 million ye nya mom. Ntisano ye betwea 5 million na say be week onya mara ye beta atena hwa na wo say nya bia no betwea kopin so be wie na nka me kofi e kwan anka metima afa so an because mintimi nko wia de mintimi nya hwe mfa ho.
Some mothers in labor come without sanitary items and materials needed for labor and the newborn babies. In most cases, nurses have to foot their bills from their private pockets. Ethia Sewayebe is Chief Nursing Officer and the Nurse Manager for ONG Directorate at the Konfuanochi Teaching Hospital.
Sometimes they come in, even diapers for the babies they don't have. We buy diapers for them. Even sometimes feed them, buy food for them because the person has delivered and she wants to eat heavy food like fufu and things. Sometimes we go to the extent of buying them fufu, lunch and supper to enable her get enough breast milk to feed the baby. So it's been a headache for the ward in charges and the ward in charges in particular.
This came to light when gospel sensation Dinah Entry Hamilton paid a visit to the hospital and paid the medical bills of some mothers at the ward. She also promised to sponsor others in various vocations.
That's it for showbiz.
Should I say, allow me. Thank you. So that'll be all for the news this evening. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. That's where you find all the news. My name is Becky. Grace was here to give you the stories.
All right, so